communities had been able to figure out which foods were helpful to their tribe and which ones were harmful. Now, the reality for me is that whoever the native peoples were for Iowa, they're not around anymore, and furthermore, we've totally changed the habitat. So I'd have a hard time replicating a hunter-gatherer diet here. And I think that's true for most of humanity. We've lost most of that ancient wisdom. We've destroyed the habitats. So what I did was the best approximation that I could. I took the concepts from hunter-gatherer, fresh, in-season, locally obtained, elimination of the grains, the legumes, the dairy, and then I had to structure it. I had gone paleo earlier, 2002, but I didn't understand brain biology nearly as well. In 2007, when I had this deeper understanding of brain biology and this long list of nutrients I had now identified as critical to my brain, my mitochondria, I then did research to figure out where were these nutrients in the food supply. And then as I had sort of had this big list of foods that I needed to eat, I designed a diet that is structured to get everything that at least I know is on the list. And I did that assuming that science we're good, but there are probably hundreds, thousands of other compounds that are very important to my brain that science hasn't named, and for sure are not on my list. But by going to the foods that would cover the nutrients I do know about, I would probably pick up hundreds, thousands of other nutrients that were very good for my cells. And so that's why I have things structured. 3 cups of greens, 3 cups of sulfur-rich, 3 cups of color, grass-fed meat, organ meat, seaweed, and that's the overarching structure. It takes out grain, takes out dairy, takes out legumes. If people aren't willing to go all the way paleo, I really push them to go at least gluten-free, dairy-free, and to consider, think carefully about soy. Soy might be okay, but, there's some risks with soy as well.
Right, they're hormone disruptors, right?
Well, they're hormone disruptors. If you look at the traditional use for soy, it was a small part of the diet, not a huge part of the diet. Most of the soy products are not organic, so they are getting tons of Roundup sprayed on them. And so there's a very heavy pesticide load on this soy. In addition, it's genetically modified, which changes the shape of the protein, increases dramatically the probability of an immune reaction and food sensitivity. Same thing with corn. And, it's another reason to try and get heirloom vegetables, organic, things close to home, so it's less likely to be genetically modified.
I do want to talk to you about pesticide load and detoxing, but I just have a quick question. Do you drink any coffee?
I never acquired a taste for coffee. I'll drink tea, and I have several kinds of tea that I'll drink. I think having a couple cups of coffee is fine. Having tea throughout the day is fine. I encourage the use of green tea and a variety of herbal teas. I think variety is a very good thing. And if someone's drinking a lot of caffeine, energy drinks now, I suggest that they brew strong tea, mix it with fruit juice of their preference at whatever ratio they would like, and use that in replacement of sodas and energy drinks.
That sounds great. You have this expression, and I may not be saying it exactly as you said it, but the essence is, if you're trying to mop up your floor full of water, you can't just keep mopping it up. You got to turn off the faucet, then mop up the floor. Something like that in terms of philosophy. Can you expound on that a little bit in terms of eating and medicine?
Factory farming and food production during World War II was transitioned to a heavily petroleum-based process, and a lot of the chemicals that were used during the war were reinvented as products that we could use in our agricultural, industrial, and home environments. The green revolution really ramped up, again, the use of pesticides and in the animal side, hormones. So in our food supply, we are taking a tremendous load of chemicals that will interact with our biology. And we know babies that are born now are born with a significant load of pesticides, plastics, solvents, Teflon, heavy metals in their bloodstream. So we have all this stuff, which will get parked in our fat, in our brain, and all of that is biologically active, revving up the inflammation and damaging us. So in most Americans are eating so badly that their liver, their kidneys cannot process and eliminate these toxins very well. So they get parked in fat and brain. I see a lot of folks who have toxic load issues. So we talk about detoxification using kelp, algae, berries, and a variety of other herbs to support the liver and the kidney as they remove these toxins. Then, in addition, so we improve the excretion of the toxins. Then we have to talk about decreasing the intake load. So I then talk about organic food, talk about green cleaning processes. I ask people to think about their environment, their work environment, their home environment, how many chemicals are they using. In our personal care products, there's a lot of toxic chemicals. In our cleaning products, there are toxic chemicals. We put on sunscreen, which is full of toxins. So I have those conversations about what are all the toxic exposures that you have, and ask the person to think about what they can do to reduce and eliminate those.
Is that the part of turning off the water faucet that you're referring to?
Yeah, turn off the water faucet.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to empty the bathtub if you turn off the water faucet. Turn off the water and then just open up the drain. It will go out a lot faster.
Now, I did an interview with Dr. Nick Gonzalez, who works with a lot of cancer patients in New York.
Yeah.
And he has been doing coffee enemas for like 30 years as a way to detox. So the Gersten Institute also uses it. It's supposed to be pretty incredible. Have you heard of it, and have you ever done it?
I have heard of it. That certainly is another option.
But it has to be organic, they said. It must be organic.
What you want to be doing is getting the stuff out of the stool. I talk with my folks about having a soft BM, preferably 2 or 3 a day, and to take enough fiber, enough prunes, so that's what you're doing. And for some people, it's a tablespoon. For others, it's 3 or 4 tablespoons of things like chia seed, which is a great fiber, lots of marvelous nutrition there for you. Coffee enemas are an option. I don't talk about that in my book. I think that's better to have a personalized physician who can guide the use of something a little more invasive like enemas.
You had put that 1 in 3 children in the United States will get either diabetes or become obese today. That is so depressing.
We are killing our society. The sugar molecules stimulate our dopamine, our pleasure center. We now know that sugar, white flour, high fructose corn syrup is more addicting than nicotine and is more addicting than cocaine.
Wow. I was having an omelet the other day, and I said to a friend of mine who was putting Heinz ketchup on her omelet, I said, "Do you know that has high fructose corn syrup in it?" And she said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, it has high fructose corn syrup." Now, when I was a kid, ketchup didn't have high fructose corn syrup in it. What happened?
Well, the food industry figured out that we like things sweet. High fructose corn syrup is very cheap. It creates more incentive. Sales are higher, and so
doesn't it excite the brain?
Yeah. You also add that gluten, the protein in wheat, and casein, that protein in dairy, will stimulate the pleasure centers in the brain as well.
I did a whole show a couple of weeks ago on wheat with the author of Wheat Belly. Oh, my God. Yeah. Wheat isn't like thousands of years ago. It's totally molecularly changed.